coming to you live from the media deck of the USS PlayStation booth. Up here is one of the busier areas. We've got people trying out the Vita all over the place. These stations, people have been coming in, shooting video, and we've come over here right now because these things, you can't go home with one. That thing is locked down. So we've come to you, and you are Pete Smith from Sony Computer Entertainment Liverpool, and you've been working on the LittleBigPlanet franchise for some time now.
Yeah, I've been working on LittleBigPlanet since right at the start, since it looked nothing like LittleBigPlanet, and it was this odd little platform game with this 2D character walking around, and a development team just full of these mad ideas going, we're going to take over the world with user-created content, and we went, that sounds fantastic, and the game turned out amazing, and now PlayStation Vita is just the perfect device for LittleBigPlanet. We're absolutely loving it. All of the features of the PlayStation Vita.
Yeah, let's go ahead and look at it here.
Okay,
so we got the planet here, and
we got the planet. Yep. And LittleBigPlanet is very tactile by nature, so it makes sense to do it as touch. So you can kind of squeeze the planet, pinch the planet. And we're going to today talk you through a level we built specifically for E3.
Let's talk about the game, the structure. Is this LittleBigPlanet 2? Is this? What are we looking at content-wise?
So this is completely, utterly new. Everything is new, yeah. We could have took an easy route and done a port, and we said, that's not LittleBigPlanet. The story's new, the levels are new, the games are new, but it's also a new approach. We want to play more about standalone pick-up-and-play experiences, which is what you'd want on a portable, as opposed to big epic platform levels, and you'll see some of that today. So I'm going to just use a touch to open the curtains, and everything in this level that you see with this starred material is touchable, so I can move things around. Also, what's really cool...
It looks really, really nice. The lighting and everything. I mean, you guys, the processing power of the Vita is not having a trouble with LittleBigPlanet, you would say?
Well, you know, I mean, it's a really good question because PlayStation 3 looked fantastic. Yeah. And LittleBigPlanet pushes the PlayStation 3 to its absolute limits. So then you say, okay, now we're going to do it on a PlayStation Vita. But actually, because of the smaller screen in relation to a massive big monitor, you can create your assets that little bit lower, but they still stand up perfectly. So actually the two are comparing really, really well. And you know, I would say the two look pretty much the same, which is like totally amazing. And when we started getting the graphics up and running and saw that, we were like, wow, this device is fantastic. So I'm now just going to dress as Jack Sparrow.
So that was from the Pirates of the Caribbean pack that was out for LittleBigPlanet on PS3.
Yeah, and if you bought it on PlayStation 3, it will automatically come across for free onto PlayStation Vita. That's cool, yeah?
Hey, if you move into a new house, you still take your wardrobe with you, right?
Absolutely, and your pirate outfit. So I've just got to now jump, and I'll start the level off. So I'm walking through the level. This is a carnival-themed level. I'm going to walk through a whale's belly, as you'd expect with a LittleBigPlanet.
Like you do.
Yeah. And here we've got, unfortunately you can't hear it with the show floor, but we've got a fully working piano. And if I play LBP, that should open the door and I can go through. Okay. Now we've got all of the standard controls for LittleBigPlanet, but having an analog stick, a real proper analog stick, really, really helps, and it feels very natural. You can just get to grips with it straight away.
So you're grabbing with R1 and then you're jumping with X?
That's right, yeah. Grab with R1, jump with X and use the analog stick. But then obviously we'll layer into that things like touch, and here we've got a little tilt problem. So I'm going to tilt this dude across, and I walk over, grab his feet, tilt him back. Okay, and then now you start layering things, so now I'm going to grab, and then I'm going to touch, throw him around, and I'm back onto this guy, and I'm going to tilt him back. And it feels really intuitive, and one of the great things about LittleBigPlanet, obviously, is everything that you see in the game, you can make yourself. So if you want to make a touch game, a tilt game, a rear touch game, you can do that. And I think we're going to see some really fantastically creative games made by people. And I think what's going to be great is that it's going to feel a little bit different to PlayStation 3, which in a positive way, people will make different kinds of games. And we're building new tools to try to maximise that as well, so people try to think, right, it's PlayStation Vita, I'm going to build something suitable for a portable device. So here we've got a bit of a puzzle. I need to lift this platform. I've got a switch here and I've got a block here, so I'll just move that across. I'll jump over, onto the switch, and then I can move the block underneath and I can jump through. Nice and simple and very, very intuitive. Now this is where it gets really cool, yeah? So here we've got rear touch. So you'll see when I move my finger on the rear touch, the fingerprint appears.
Can we get a shot of his hands down here?
So I'm moving around on the back. So then if I kind of just pull across there, and there you go, and I can kind of push them back in. I'll push them out. Okay. So and then I could just do that and that. Okay. So that's your rear touch, and you know that's kind of cool, but it's not very interesting. Well, you know what? We've got a really cool puzzle here now, which is a little bit more interesting. So here I need to push blocks out and push them back in, and I need to get Satboy to the top of the screen.
So you're pushing out the platform, and it is 1-to-1. This is something that is really, I want to, you mind? Oh, nice. Oops. I'm not helping you out, I'm just screwing around.
Okay, so I'll just push that back in, I'll drag across. Okay, and you know, we're finding the designers are really liking the rear touch because it's just something new, and it's like things they've not been able to do in the past. And hopefully gamers will find that as well, is that, you know, if they look at this device and go, oh wow, imagine the things you could do with rear touch, well, you know what, they can make them themselves, yeah?
So a thing that we had said, I think, with LittleBigPlanet, it was you know, it was a platform game, and then LittleBigPlanet 2 was a platform for games.
Yeah.
What would be the in a bucket here with LittleBigPlanet for Vita?
So we're saying with PlayStation 2 we were talking about a handmade arcade. Now we're saying it's a handheld arcade. Yeah, make your own handheld arcade, and we want people making games, more sort of maybe even app store style games. So smaller games, and you don't even have to make games. Yeah, you know, I was talking the other day about with one of the designers about if we did a spirit level app. Yeah, it wouldn't really be an app, but you'd use tilt. You have a ball, it rolls around, yeah, and you've got a spirit level. Yeah, someone's going to make one of those. I'm probably going to make it myself actually because I think it's a cool idea. So now, one of the things which was really important for PlayStation, the PlayStation 3 version, is the social side of multiplayer. Yeah. So we've got 4-player multiplayer, which is really cool, yeah, and you can do that over Wi-Fi, you can do it over locally, ad hoc. If you've got 4 guys all in the same room, they can play and they can play over the internet. But also, what was really fun about PlayStation 3 was people playing all around the same TV. It was quite a social experience. Right. Well, now with the multi-touch screen, you can do that with the PlayStation Vita. So I'm going to show you now a level we knocked up. This level was done in 24 hours. Then we polished it up.
You all love doing that.
And I'll tell you why, because your boss said that the level we did wasn't good enough. And he said, do us a new level.
All right, so what do we got? Oh, so like an air hockey game, kind of, yeah?
So here we go. So basically, you just move left and right. It's so simple. Yeah.
This is great.
And it's the first one to 10, but we won't play to 10.
We play to 10 if I can't stop a shot. There we go.
You could have 2 players. You could have 4 players. But this could be a rear touch game. You could even use an analog stick. We've got one on each end. So you could put each other on an analog stick, or you can use the tilt. All of the features, but I think this is going to be a really cool feature because it's a really social for PlayStation Vita.
It's just a different. It's cool that if you can play multiplayer, but without necessarily having to be online. This is kind of like an app, like you said.
Yeah, that's right. Because some people, they might not be online, they might not have 2 PlayStation Vitas, but the friends come round, yeah, and they want to show off the kit. It's like, right, let's have a game of this. And then you can go on, and you know what, you might be on the move, you might be on the bus. Well, you can download levels over 3G, which is really cool. So you can say, right, come on, let's have a look what levels there are for 4 players on the same device, and you and your friends all sit round it and, kick the crap out of each other or shoot balls at each other or do whatever you want, yeah?
I know it's early going, but do you plan on possibly supporting LBP.me, which was like, that great website that for LittleBigPlanet 2 levels send people to discover them?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we love LBP.me, yeah. It's so cool, and our challenge is always to make sure people can find the good stuff. There's over 4 million levels made for PlayStation 3, and it's really important that people can find the good things because there is a lot of them, but there's also a lot of crap as well, yeah, in 4 million levels. So you want to make sure you can...
That was my level you're talking about.
And mine as well. But you want to be able to make sure you can get to the good stuff, and LBP.me was really good for doing that. You could queue up levels. Well, LBP.me is going to come across the PlayStation Vita, so you can search for levels, maybe at work, well, not our work, yeah, because we would never do that, but, when you're bored during the day and the boss is out, you can look for levels, find some levels, see what your friends have played, see what your friends have recommended, then you can queue up levels, and then when you go home, you can play them, and that's going to come across the PlayStation Vita, because we really want to share the community. We want to, the community, we love our community. And
well, we know you love the community, so why don't we actually bring in a question from the community? Sid, here, let me get right over here. So we have some questions from Twitter, and let's see what the community has to say.
That's right. A lot of questions focusing on that touchscreen and that rear touchpad. Good example here is old Mario's tweet. Will the touchscreen be a required playability feature, or will you be able to use traditional controls? And also, how does the rear touchpad harness for gameplay?
Okay, so throughout the game we're going to use touch. Yeah, we think that it's a fantastic feature, and there will be games in there which are touch-based. There'll be games in there which aren't. If we build, say, a side-scrolling shooter, yeah, they work really well with an analog stick and an X button. We're not going to just force touch into things for the sake of it, but there is going to be touch used throughout the game for positive reasons. I think the same goes for rear touch. You know, we'll use rear touch where we think it feels right, and we won't force it in where it doesn't feel right.
I got one more here. Rab wants to know how many players will be supported on the Vita version of LittleBigPlanet.
Okay, so we've got 4 players. If you exclude the millions of people out there in the community who are all playing it, but I know he means at the same time. But what's really interesting is that when we're playing the game, quite often I play the game and someone will come along and I'm struggling with a puzzle and I need to move around some blocks, and then the guy can say, oh, hey, you moved that. So 4 people can play it, but someone else could actually be helping you as well by doing the touch bits for you. So it's 4-player, but maybe with a little bit of addition as well with the touch.
And there's the ability to share, and I'm sure we'll see some people come up with some cool stuff. The thing I like about the most thing so far is you're not just going to be able to make little different games and platform levels. You really get to unlock the abilities. It's almost like a dev kit for the Vita. So Pete, thanks very much for taking the time. I'm sure other people are actually queuing up here so they can get on to play LittleBigPlanet. I know you got a long, another day and a half of E3, but I wanted to make sure the community got to see this, and thanks very much.
Thank you very much.